just electronic junk.
There are some people in Japan who say such terrible things.
Saying that something as cute as Bitcoin-chan is junk is just too rude.
Well, it has only a small number of people, but I do hear that kind of sarcasm sometimes.
If Bitcoin were to disappear, just like trash vanishing from a garbage can, that would be sad.
You should just say something weird.
Even if Bitcoin-chan were to disappear completely, my love will never fade.
Wait, do they even know anything about Bitcoin?
Well, yeah, maybe not. Bitcoin is not electronic junk, the mechanism that keeps it from disappearing.
Hey, Bitcoin Dante, just disappear.
What, really? They called it electronic junk, so I thought it would just vanish.
Well, Bitcoin is money that exists on the internet, so it doesn't have a physical form, but it never disappears.
Oh, I see. But online data can get deleted with just a click, and sometimes it can't be recovered, so why don't Bitcoin disappear?
Good question. Let me explain it in a really simple way. Let us use the example of stone monuments.
Stone monuments?
Let us assume that in the past, people recorded money exchanges by carving them into a single stone monument.
There was one person in charge of carving, and everyone else could just look at that monument to see the transaction history.
But what if that monument got struck by lightning and broke?
If it gets destroyed, no new transactions can be recorded.
Exactly. This is similar to a centralized system.
If a company manages everything on a central server, and that server goes down, people can't use the service for a while.
Oh, like how social media sometimes goes down, and you can't use it.
That's right. And in a centralized system, there is also the risk that the administrator might alter the data on purpose or make mistakes when recording transactions.
I see. So if the person in charge isn't trustworthy, then the records on the monument might not be reliable either.
Traditional payment systems, like banks and credit cards, are centralized. In contrast, Bitcoin is called decentralized.
A centralized system is managed by a single organization, whereas a decentralized system is maintained by everyone together.
You can think of a decentralized system as if many people each have their own stone monument. When a money exchange happens, everyone with a monument checks the same information and records it on their own monument.
Even if one monument is destroyed, the others still remain, so there is no problem.
In Bitcoin, these stone monuments are actually computers called nodes.
Anyone is free to set up their own node and verify Bitcoin transactions.
A system for recording the same information without a central authority.
Wait, hold on a second. How do all the stone monuments end up with the same information? For example, let us say Kumo sends me 1 Bitcoin and carves it into his own monument. But what if I claim I received 300 Bitcoins and insist on it? Alright, Kumo, I'll be waiting for my 300 Bitcoins.
That is terrifying. But in this system, people can't just carve whatever they want into their own monuments.
There is another role besides those who simply own the stone monuments, or nodes.
Let us call them stone artisans.
It is the role of the stone artisans to carve transaction records into the monuments.
There are many artisans, and roughly every 10 minutes, one of them gets to carve a new record into their monument.
Once the record is carved, those who own stone monuments check whether the record is valid. If the majority of them don't reject it, the record is considered valid and accepted.
But if there are so many artisans, how do they decide which one gets to record the transaction?
Actually, the artisans compete with each other, and the one who wins gets to do the carving.
The competition is carried out through calculations. Whoever performs an enormous number of calculations and finds the correct number first earns the right to carve it into the stone monument.
But it is not about solving complex math problems, it is more like trying an enormous number of calculations over and over until they find the right one.
So it is a calculation competition. Wait, does the winning artisan get some kind of prize?
That is right. The winner is rewarded with newly issued Bitcoin plus transaction fees. This is all programmed into the system.
This process is called mining.
Wow, if they can earn Bitcoin, the artisans must be really motivated.
By the way, the people who do mining are called miners. In this example, the stone artisans are the miners.
I see.
In this analogy, it may seem like the stone artisan counts each transaction individually, but in reality, Bitcoin groups many transactions together before recording them.
Each of these little squares represents transaction data.
Wow, there are so many small squares.
All these transactions are grouped into a single block, and new blocks are linked one after another.
This system is called blockchain. As of early February 2025, around the 880,000th block has been created.
Amazing. It really looks like a chain that keeps going forever.
By the way, the number of Bitcoins miners receive as a reward is predetermined and gets halved approximately every 4 years.
While national currencies like the Japanese yen and the dollar tend to increase in supply, Bitcoin's issuance decreases over time.
I see. Wait, does that mean there will be a day when no more Bitcoins can be earned?
This is a bit of a complex topic. There are actually two types of mining rewards. The one that gets reduced every 4 years is called the block reward. By around the year 2140, block rewards will disappear completely, but miners will still earn transaction fees.
Transaction fees fluctuate depending on demand, but the more Bitcoin transactions occur, the higher the transaction fee rewards can become.
Can anyone do mining or run a node?
Hey, I want Bitcoin too. Can I become a miner and start mining?
Well, technically, anyone can try to become a miner.
Really?
But the competition in mining is extremely fierce, so it is very difficult for an individual to successfully mine on their own.
They already told you. It is difficult.
In the past, individuals had a chance to earn mining rewards.
But now, many companies are mining on an industrial scale, making the competition so intense that it is really tough for one person to do it alone.
Oh, I see.
There is still a lot more to talk about when it comes to mining, but let us save that for another time.
Oh, mining and being a stone artisan might be difficult. But what about running a node and holding a stone monument? Earlier, you said anyone can freely set up their own node, right?
Yeah, anyone can start running a node, and there are even individuals in Japan who operate their own nodes.
Really? Do people who run nodes receive Bitcoin as a reward?
No, that is not how it works. Unlike mining, running a node doesn't come with any financial rewards.
Then why do so many people run nodes?
Well, I can only guess, but I think some people want to learn more about Bitcoin or actively participate in maintaining its system.
What do you mean?
Bitcoin doesn't have a central authority. It is something that everyone manages together, and nodes play a crucial role in verifying transactions and preventing invalid ones from being recorded.
For example, if a miner tries to record an invalid transaction, the majority of nodes can reject it, preventing it from being added to the blockchain.
The more people running nodes, the safer the Bitcoin network becomes.
I see. Oh, the number of nodes has almost doubled between 2018 and 2025.
Also, some people run nodes because they care about privacy.
If you operate your own node, you don't have to rely on others' nodes, making it even harder to trace where a transaction was sent from.
Privacy? Why would someone not want their transaction source to be identified?
In Japan, this isn't seen as a big issue, but in some countries, governments have frozen bank accounts.
Bitcoin is not an asset that can be frozen by a central authority. But even so, some people try to maximize their privacy as much as possible.
A system designed to prevent fraud.
Oh, but wait a second. Bitcoin's system seems incredible. But is it really impossible to commit fraud? For example, what if a miner who wins a mining competition tries to record an invalid transaction?
That is a great question. Bitcoin's design makes that kind of fraud nearly impossible.
First, if a miner attempts to record an invalid transaction, the majority of nodes can reject it, preventing it from becoming part of the official blockchain.
Even if a fraudulent block is created, other miners will ignore it and continue adding new blocks to the legitimate chain.
In the world of Bitcoin, there is a rule that says the blockchain with the most accumulated computational work is considered the valid one. As a result, fraudulent blocks become isolated and eventually disappear.
To keep committing fraud, an attacker would have to continuously extend a blockchain that contains invalid blocks, and that would require an enormous amount of computing power just to sustain the attack.
But if they keep trying, can't they just keep extending a fraudulent blockchain?
Mining is extremely competitive, and winning requires massive investments in equipment and electricity costs.
To keep extending a fraudulent blockchain, an enormous amount of computing power is needed, making it completely unrealistic.
For example, renting the necessary computational power for just 1 hour could cost millions of dollars or even more.
That much!
You'd also need a massive number of high-performance mining machines.
And since other mining companies also want these machines, there is no guarantee that enough of them will be available on the market.
On top of that, even if someone spends an enormous amount of money, there is no guarantee of success, so there is really no incentive to even try.
But what if a major government with an enormous budget decided to do it?
If they have that much money to spend, it would be far more profitable to just mine Bitcoin legitimately instead of trying to cheat the system.
By following the rules, they would actually earn Bitcoin as a reward.
Oh, that makes sense.
Besides, would the public really accept spending a massive amount of money on an attack that might not even work?
Yeah, if you ask the citizens, they'd probably say, shorty, you'd be focusing on something more important than attacking Bitcoin.
Past case, the block size debate.
But wait, what about this? What if miners recorded fraudulent transactions and bribed, or convinced many node operators to cooperate in committing fraud together?
In theory, it is possible, but in reality, it is highly unlikely.
Bitcoin nodes are distributed all over the world, so communicating and bribing a majority of them would be nearly impossible.
Besides, if someone attempted such a large-scale fraud, it would destroy trust in Bitcoin, causing its price to crash.
Most miners and node operators hold Bitcoin themselves, so why would they deliberately devalue their own holdings?
Oh, that makes sense.
There's one historical case I'd like to introduce. In 2017, a conflict known as the block size debate emerged within the Bitcoin community. At the time,
some people wanted to increase the block size to lower transaction fees and make transactions faster.
On the other hand, those who wanted to keep the original block size argued that other solutions should be used to improve fees and transaction efficiency.
A major concern was that larger block sizes would increase the cost of running the node, potentially reducing decentralization in the Bitcoin network.
So, there was a conflict between those who wanted bigger blocks and those who wanted to keep them the same. What happened?
The supporters of big blocks decided to split the Bitcoin blockchain and create a separate chain.
What? That can actually happen?
Yes, this is how new coin called Bitcoin Cash was born. For a while, some people believed Bitcoin Cash might become the real Bitcoin. But in the end, that didn't happen.
Bitcoin Cash was initially popular, but today, its market capitalization is only a small fraction of Bitcoin's.
Some people who initially moved to Bitcoin Cash eventually returned to Bitcoin.
The block size debate caused a major rift in the Bitcoin community, but Bitcoin has continued to function as always.
I see. So Bitcoin has gone through some tough times and still kept going.
There might be another debate in the future that divides the community again.
But Bitcoin enthusiasts around the world continue to speak up to ensure that its core principles are preserved.
Wow, so there are so many people worldwide who love Bitcoin-chan.
As more people understand how Bitcoin works and why it can't be easily broken or manipulated, more of them come to see its true value.
The demand for Bitcoin is growing, and its market cap has risen to rival silver.
What silver? As in the actual precious metal? I feel like many people in Japan don't realize that Bitcoin is reaching that level.
Some people say Bitcoin is just electronic junk that will eventually disappear. But it's far from that. There are those who dismiss all cryptocurrencies as worthless, but lumping Bitcoin in with them is a mistake.
Bitcoin is designed to be permanent, and since there is no central authority, there are no unilateral decisions or unexpected policy changes.
Bitcoin-chan is amazing, strong, cool.
But stewing tea with way too harsh that Bitcoin is being called electronic junk.
Yeah, we should give it a cute name. For example, magical coin.
Oh no.
Bitcoin turn the wizard into the super cute.
Oh, magical coin sounds great. I hope the name catches on instead.
Hey Diddy, make some fire. Fireball.
Hey, how am I supposed to make fire?
Magical coin is actually used in Japan to mock cryptocurrencies in general, so it might not be the best choice and so on, and so on.
What, no fire? Then at least some electricity. Use thunder shock.
Give me a break.
Fine. Then transformation magic. Turn into Crowit.
Stop treating me like food.